non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. Also, as a reminder, according to the board's rules of procedure, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. To better facilitate the meeting, we will have 5 speakers in person, 5 speakers by phone, and the rest of non-agenda public comment will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. Chairwoman Vargas, we have 40 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 17 in person and 23 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. Again, we'll be calling the first 5 speakers. I'd like to invite forward Elizabeth Jacob Lee, Michelle W., Mark, Caroline Heatherly, and Jackson Kingsbury. Call your name, please come forward. We'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Jacobelli. I am a voting constituent in District 4, and I am very concerned for the well-being of the horses on Artesian Road. Why is the county aiding and abetting in animal cruelty? Supervisor Steve. Supervisor Steve, why are you not doing anything about this? I'm a constituent, and I will not continue to vote for someone that is pro and for animal abuse. Thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for speaking up against equine neglect. We demand a presentation and transparency to the public as to why Public Safety Group refuses to remove the horses on Artesian Road who are currently being neglected. Why is Public Safety Group not submitting a case to the district attorney's office of the death of the emaciated horse that died last year in March 2023? And the horse that died this year, January 2024, from colic, severe abdominal pain, the horse suffered, which is exultingly painful. This is unacceptable. And clearly the lives of these horses mean nothing to the CAO and the Public Safety Group. Los Angeles Alliance for Animal alleges that an animal control officer responded but did not immediately euthanize the horses. Thank you for your time, and
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker.
Okay, I don't have to repeat the stuff that Liz said. I'm wondering why Tara Lawson Remmer.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Michelle, voting District 4, and I vote for people that are for animals, not animal abuse. I'm wondering why Supervisor Tara Lawson Remmer is not taking animal abuse seriously and not removing these horses from Artesian Road. Yes, Tara, I'm talking about you and you're still looking down. Isn't that amazing? She doesn't even listen to me. Why is District Attorney Summer Stephan not protecting Deborah Barkley for criminal animal abuse? Is it because of money? Is this a money issue? The horses are suffering for the past several years. This must stop. And Holly Porter, are you Holly Porter? Why are you complicit in animal abuse? Why? Why is everybody neglecting to see what is going on Artesian Road? I'm asking immediately, remove the horses from this ranch. Have them emaciated, the horses are emaciated, and they died in 2023, and another one just died this year. And please submit this to District Attorney Summer Stephan for animal cruelty. I don't know, Tara's still looking down, so she must not be really interested in what I have to say. So I don't know what's going on, Tara. Why is public safety groups refusing to remove these neglected horses? San Diego County of Animal Services is failing the animals. It is because of the money involved with Deborah Barkley and Craig Netwig is why there is no transparency.
Next speaker, please.
Thank you, Tara, for still looking down.
Just a reminder, we have guidelines about civility in the chamber. If you can't follow those guidelines, we're going to be asking you to be removed, so that's your first warning. Go ahead.
My name is Jackson. I'm voting district number 3. And my ask is that we immediately remove the horses from Artesian Road and have the emancipated horses that have died in March 2023 and the horse that has died this year in January 2024 and submit to District Attorney Summer Stefan for criminal animal cruelty. And as a constituent in your district, district number 3, Tara Reamer, I will not vote for you. And I can't see how people can vote for you considering how you have neglected to look into this case. And you're not taking animal abuse seriously. That's why I'm taking time out of my schedule to speak here. And these are neglected horses, and animal abuse is illegal, and yet these horses, emancipated horses, are dying in this property owned by Deborah Barkley and Greg Newton. And I urge you all to consider animal sanctuaries. My mother and I, she's going to speak right now. We help out animal sanctuaries. These horses could easily be transferred over to these places where they can live out the rest of their lives in peace, rather than be seen as mere profit or entertainment or what have you. This is a serious issue, and I urge you all to put yourself in the situation of these animals, and I doubt any of you would appreciate to be used as anything other than just having the ability to live in peace. So just please do what's right and what is humane, and try not to see money signs, and thank you for listening.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Carolina Roberts, and I am District 3. I'm an animal rights activist. Recently, animal advocates have, not recently, for the past year, they have been witnessing horses that are living in filthy conditions with no adequate shelter against the harsh winter or the hot summer. And their bones are protruding due to lack of adequate food, and their feet are caked in manure. This is unacceptable. They are eating moldy hay, and they are being denied veterinary care. My ask is that you immediately remove these horses, and they're sentient beings. They have feelings just like you and me. They do not deserve this, and they are to be sent to animal sanctuaries. Please. They are locked in stalls, and they rarely get out. Why are you allowing this neglect to happen? Why? Please remove these horses and send them to the sanctuary. District Attorney Summer Stephen, we are calling you out for animal cruelty. As we speak, these beautiful sentient beings are out in record-breaking temperatures with no adequate protection. I repeat, no protection against the elements. Why are you allowing this to happen? This is inhumane and unacceptable. If you wouldn't do it to your beautiful baby or your pets, why would you do it to any other sentient being? Please have a heart. Send animals to the sanctuary where they belong. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark, these videos will give people an idea of what's going on. I'm not right or left in neither of these videos. Everybody would agree and want to stop this if they knew about it. So see these YouTube titles. Rosa Corey's video from 3 minutes and 40 seconds. She was a California expert court witness who knows Agenda 21 being done in our government. And she goes into great detail on it in parts 1, 2, and 3. This video, your 5th grader could learn in 15 minutes how the Federal Reserve Bank works and the corruption and how it's totally causing inflation intentionally. Start at 6 minutes and 40 seconds and go to 24 minutes. This one, Corporation Nation, they've invested us, our grandparents, our parents, tax dollars for generations and since 1913, and they own controlling interest in many Fortune 500 companies and pretty much everything around you. And they're never going to tell you about it or share it with you. It's in a separate account from the budget. You can see that. That's the general idea of that. It's a very long video. Goodbye, American sovereignty. Hello, USMCA. Trump signed the USMCA to replace NAFTA. Trump signed it, Biden did not rescind it, and it handed control over trade and immigration to a foreign unelected council. We only have one American member on who's not elected by any of us. Furthermore, the president doesn't even have the authority or Congress to sign away his powers to anyone else. And Klaus Schwab, in the first minute and 20 seconds of this video, he literally states that he's infiltrated governments, including half of Canada. So this is SANDAG working with the UN. NOR is also the share of that. And I've got 8 seconds left to say that the 110 million that our mayor is going to spend on housing, we could.
Your time's up. Now we'll hear from those that requested to speak by phone. Again, we'll be hearing from the first 5 callers. The remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. Start with our first caller.
Although, glad you got your voice back, Nora. Don't lose it by stressing and yelling. The California Constitution goes a bit further than the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 1 says that all people have inalienable rights, such as enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety, happiness, and privacy. This includes their fundamental right to choose to have an abortion and their fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. When you propose to limit these rights, you are skirting the law. Section 3 says the people have the right to instruct their representatives, petition government for redress of grievances, and assemble freely to consult for the common good. Each local agency is hereby required to comply with the California Public Records Act and the Ralph M. Brown Act. Section 7 says a person may not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law or denied equal protection of laws, which rules out a lot of the equity stuff you impose. Says a citizen or a class of citizens may not be granted privileges or immunities not granted on the same terms to all citizens. Good reading. Hopefully this civics lesson will teach you a bit of respect for the people of this county. And by the way, I agree, you really need at this time to do something about the horses. And I agree that you're protecting them because.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
My name is Sandra Bell. It has recently come to my attention that there is severe neglect, suffering, and death of horses on a property in San Diego. This cruel situation has long been reported to the proper agencies, but nothing whatsoever is being done, and the perpetrators are allowed to continue starving and neglecting penned-up horses on that property. I saw the video of a dead skeletal horse and also one writhing on the ground dying of colic, and I'm appalled and angry. I'm asking for immediate action by authorities to rescue the remaining horses and prosecute the culprits. I don't see how this has gone on so long. I don't see how these pictures and these videos can be looked at and not seen as a hard crime. It's outrageous and it's unacceptable and it needs to stop. Rescue those horses now. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello there. My name is Christina Koo. I am an attorney in California, and I am thrilled to see that the San Diego County Supervisors have taken the time to value groups like Planned Parenthood and SheFest. As an attorney, I was motivated to help those most vulnerable, and those folks in all kinds of walks of life and beliefs and genders deserve protection, just as I have expanded my practice to also include those with the least amount of voice, which are animals. I have made the connection that if I am going to have compassion and protect all those who are most vulnerable in our communities, it must include animals.
Hasn't looked up one
And
time
I've
during the
heard
public
speakers
comment,
speak
nor has
very
been
much in
speaking throughout this
detail
entire comment
with facts
and the last
and
one. They're
compassion
not listening at
over
all. They do
issues
not
of the
care.
horses, which I absolutely strongly support. And I have personally seen videos and photos, which I'm sure everyone has, but I am very thrilled to see that the invocation included words of compassion and vulnerability. And I think the supervisors on your board have so much power to really embrace this concept and include animals, wildlife, nature, and our planet. And I strongly urge everyone to look into this aspect of expanding this compassion to include animals and wildlife, and especially these horses that are in your county. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey, it's Jim. A few points. First of all, you were 8 minutes late. Of course, that's 80 push-ups, which is 350 over the past couple of months. Get on it. Nora's call for applause breaks the rules for these. And Planned Parenthood, you may get more respect if you talk about babies. Talk about babies sometime. So I call in today as your basic reminder that all of those who have come to present before you, Mark, Michael, Audra, Truth, Consuelo, Tara, Jeff, Luke, one called Oliver Twist, have brought to you their perception, the research, and the facts. You have heard of Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, geoengineering, treasonous action of the UN. You have heard the detailed on-the-ground reporting of Luke and Audra regarding an open border that has created immeasurable atrocities in the realm of human trafficking, sexual abuse, murder, and foreign enemy arming. The call right now is a basic reminder that all of those who have come to present before you have all brought clear warnings about a potential devastating future. If that future does come, let it be put on record. This will be documented to show how you ignored the speakers, you bypassed the warnings, and you failed us all. Whereas your failures will be on wide display for all to see, the good news is that the citizens are becoming more and more aware of the atrocities, despite your lack of attention or action. The good news is whatever agenda is being driven presently will ultimately fail. The good news is we as a nation will not be destroyed or enslaved, but will rather build a better world. Best news is we can dispel with the latest meme of it's going to get worse before it gets better. And replace it with, as Michael has posed in his recent video, an answer to the question, how good can it get? How good can it get? The people will show the way, whether you listen to them and take the warning.
Thank you. Now, the final caller this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kathleen Lippett. I chose public health promotion and research to advocate to reduce the human suffering from the ravages of drug use and addiction to individuals and their loved ones. But it's beyond troubling to recognize policies that are known to be ineffective but paradoxical, fueling problems instead of preventing, mitigating, or solving them. San Diego's most recent data on juvenile arrestees shows why the outcomes of your policies are headed in the wrong direction. 91% of juvenile arrestees have tried marijuana, alcohol, and tobacco, with marijuana first, most frequent, and most recently used drug. Why? Because they report it very, very easy to obtain, because they perceive it as safe, because the county legitimizes and supports marijuana businesses, and because all regulations and oversight promised to voters with Prop 64 were empty, and because prevention has been replaced by harm reduction. Nearly 9 in 10 report vaping. The flavored nicotine products that have been banned continue to be sold in smoke shops because the county doesn't do minor decoys or assessments. Support policies that increase marijuana use. It is beyond time to dissolve the county's partnership with the marijuana industry. Time to stop the specious use of equity or the war on drugs to justify growing it. Time to stop conferring unearned privileges to this industry. Time to put your endorsement of brain awareness in practice by protecting the human brain and preventing the drugs that harm it, like marijuana. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. That concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And before we move on, I want to just take a minute and welcome. Today is a historic day for the County of San Diego, and I want to welcome our newest CAO, our Chief Administrative Officer, Ebony Shelton, officially. She did hit the ground running on June 14th, but I wanted to take this moment to say, welcome her to the dais. So let's give her, we're gonna break the rules a little and just give her a big round of applause and take a break.
Breaking the rules. They can do whatever they want.
I just want to say that it was really wonderful to see your beautiful family here with us on the day that you agreed to officially take the job and took the vote. And for me, it's a very special moment, not only because it's a historic moment today, but also because you are, I think, a CAO that not only represents our community, you are from our community, you are someone who is not only understands the region, the ins and outs of the county of San Diego, but you have the corazon to lead the 20,000 plus employees of the county of San Diego, but you understand really what this board really wants as we move forward, which is to make sure that our employees are treated well, that they are treated with compassion and love, and that we do the best for constituents, and we're trying to figure out how we mesh that while at the same time being very fiscally prudent and doing the best that we can with the resources that we can as we move forward. And who else will do it well than one of the smartest people that I've met in this county. And so I'm super excited for you to be able to do that, and I'm so happy that you're here with us. And so I'll turn it over to you to say a couple of words. And so happy to have you here next to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I am honored to address you all this morning as the newly appointed Chief Administrative Officer for the County of San Diego. I have a great sense of enthusiasm as well as a deep sense of responsibility as I step into this role. The board has trusted me for the task of guiding this county forward towards a future that's filled with promise and opportunity for everyone. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to the county team for your dedication to public service and your commitment to the well-being of our community. Your expertise and passion for public service are what keep me from. You're the backbone of this organization, and your dedication to excellence is what sets us apart. So thank you. To the honorable members of the board, I'm eager to partner with you and implement policies that reflect the needs and aspirations of constituents. Your guidance and your wisdom will be invaluable as we navigate complex issues and prepare to make decisions that impact our communities that we have influence. As we embark on this journey together, my priorities will be to foster transparency, community engagement, and excellence in all that we do. I believe in the power of teamwork. Those of you who know me know that very well as inclusive decision-making where every voice has the opportunity to be heard. Together, we're going to tackle challenges, we're going to capitalize on opportunities, and we're going to ensure that we're strengthening communities with innovative, inclusive, and data-driven services through a skilled workforce. So I just want to thank everyone again for the very warm welcome and reception here, and for the opportunity to serve as the Chief Administrative Officer.
Thank you. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes and statement of proceedings for the regular Board of Supervisors meeting of June 4th, 2024, budget hearings on June 4th, 2024, and June 6th, 2024, in-home supportive services public authority meeting on June 4th, 2024, and redevelopment successor agency meeting on June 9th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second? Second by Chairwoman Vargas. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
We will now proceed with the formation of the consent calendars. Item number 1 through 7, members of the public will be able to comment on the consent calendar. After supervisors pull any items they would like for discussion, if any of my colleagues like to pull any items for discussion, Supervisor Anderson. Vice Chair Marcelina.
No items to pull, but I just want to make a comment on item 4. I think it's great. This is a great program. I know that we provided nearly $12 million for affordable home buyers and first-time home purchasers over the past 5 years, and just excited to see us able to increase this program and wanted to uplift that we're going to be able to help an additional 25 families to become first-time home buyers. So this is just wonderful, and thank you.
Supervisor Montgomery.
Nothing to pull at this time, thank you.
And I don't have any items to pull. I just wanted to make a couple comments on item number 5. I am very proud to be able to allocate some funding for item number 5, which is 2 different projects, particularly in Spring Valley and in the Tijuana River Valley. Most of you have heard me speak about the fact that these particular projects, we have going to be able to maintain portable restrooms in the Tijuana River Valley, and it's really sad to say that in certain communities, because of the particular zip codes, our communities don't have access, and so I am excited that we're going to be able to provide these amenities. Shouldn't have to be this way, but I'm glad that we're going to be able to allocate these dollars, and so I appreciate if my colleagues are able to support these items so that we can make sure that our communities are able to have equity in these communities. And so with that, I'm happy to make a motion to support the consent calendar. And with that, I'm happy to turn it over to public comment.
Thank you. Is there a second for the consent calendar? Thank you. Second, Supervisor Montgomery. We'll now proceed with individuals that requested to speak on items in the consent calendar. We have 15 requests to speak, 4 in person, and 11 requesting to speak by phone. Any individuals that requested to speak on the consent calendar by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall and everywhere else until it's your turn to speak. We'll begin with the speaker in favor of the consent items, Alice De La Torre, followed by Mark, allegedly Audra, and Hermes. I'll ask you to please keep your comments to the content of the consent calendar. Please identify which item on the consent calendar you're speaking on. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. You're welcome to come forward with the order.
Good morning, San Diego Board of Supervisors and Board of Artists. My name is Alice De La Torre. I'm the proud member of the San Isidro Women's Club. I'm retired assistant superintendent of the San Isidro School District. And I come before you to strongly support the transfer of funds from the District 1 office budget to the Department of Parks and Rec. This transfer is critical since there are well over 10,000 students who need some healthy type of recreation. Since IB Beach is polluted and the air quality is at its lowest point, these funds will help to provide much needed improvement to our local parks and will promote the healthy lifestyle of our young people. And will greatly benefit our community that has long been forgotten by improving the quality of our public spaces. I urge you to approve the policy to transfer funds to the Department of Parks and Rec for the betterment of our community and the 10,000 students that live in San Isidro and the 30,000 people that reside there. So please continue your good work, and thank you, Nora, for all you've done for San Isidro. We very much appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Mil gracias.
Good morning. My name is Marta Jacobo.
Martha, I don't have a speaker slip for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you mentioned my name.
No, I have a speaker slip for Mark,
Oh, I'm
allegedly
sorry.
Audra, and Hermes.
Okay, Marta, thank you.
Mark, number 4. As California expert in eminent domain, land use, and property valuation, Rosa Corey states in this YouTube video titled, you can start 3 minutes and 40 seconds, this is part of a UN Agenda 21 plan to destroy our housing and economy. This board is transferring our public land into their corporation. We are coerced into changing our land use documents to change our sovereign government or not receive state funding, or federal for that matter. Building mixed-use housing and subsidizing 2/3 of low-income rents with our taxes for an ever-increasing number of impoverished citizens is unsustainable. Impoverished by the intentional inflation government creates through its corrupt banking. See this video from 6 minutes 40 seconds to 24 minutes to understand. Todd Gloria is spending $110 million in the next 3 years to have 1,000 beds for homeless people. For $120 million, you supervisors could kill 2 birds with 1 stone by 3D printing 10 by 40 foot homes with a razor sharp back wall, cheap cameras, and motion sensors along our 90-mile southern border, which could house almost 12,000 people, including 7 Border Patrol agents' families who could immediately dispatch 63 more agents within a 5-mile radius, or the military. Almost 12,000 housed, not 1,000 beds. While controlling our border from the inexcusable fentanyl deaths, murders, and rapes you see in these news titles. I don't have the news titles here right now. Major Todd wants taxpayers to pay almost $2 million per year leasing a building for 35 years to cost the owner about $13 million. It'd be paid off in about 7 years in pure profit for him. What a scam. This is totally incompetent and corrupt, considering we could have housed almost 12,000 and stopped the open border murders, rapes, and drug deaths. I've told these supervisors this plan many times. Why aren't you safeguarding?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hermes here. Sometimes I don't know what the best thing for me to do is. So, discussing these items and the way we're spending money and trying to go ahead and fulfill a real life mouse utopia experiment, I don't understand what the heck we're doing. We have more people leaving San Diego than ever before. We're building housing units in people's yards that have no parking. So what is this a real goal of? Piss us off to the point that all of us stop driving and then you get what you want? Or do you think something else is gonna happen? People are gonna get pissed off. People are going to start road raging. These kinds of events take place all the fucking time. And I don't understand why you guys keep on fucking up the streets, intentionally, increasing traffic, intentionally. And I could point that out in several different locations. And I bet you many, many people could go ahead and do the same thing. This is intentional. You guys are trying to force us out of cars for no bullshit reason, when we can go ahead and turn plastic into gasoline. We could turn the byproduct into fertilizer. Look it up. There's a dude doing it right now. Yet none of you guys want to go ahead and actually tackle the problem. You go ahead and handle all this stuff. No, we want to go ahead and tear up mountains, destroy countries to get this precious resource. Well, meanwhile, we're not using any friggin' oil. We're not fucking up the country. We're not doing that to ours, but we're doing it to every other country. And none of us have a problem with that? Bullshit.
Next speaker.
My person uses the name Audra, so if number 2 is a secured hospital ward for you guys, I'm totally for it. It would be fantastic. If it's for anybody else, no. And then HHS and this whole California Department of Healthcare Services, it is actually misnamed. It should say Death Care Services. And HHS is one of the biggest human traffickers. They actually traffic the unaccompanied minors that come across the border. Yeah, and they, send them off to have their organs harvested, to have them be tortured for adrenochrome, and then, also be raped over and over, probably in every orifice of their body. But, you guys condone that, so good on you. There's a special place in hell for you. And anytime you're trying to produce housing, it's never affordable. None of it is. And you sit here and you virtue signal like you're actually going to make things better for people, but people are suffering, and this is just a bunch of busy work. And the fact that you want to put a park right where there's sewage, go have their health just be, or I guess maybe they're resilient because, their immune systems are super strong at that time, so they can really deal with all of this sewage and stuff where you want to give people humidifiers and all this stuff. It's interesting to see the things that you guys engage in, especially the human trafficking and the disappearance of children through HHS. It happens through CPS and foster care. And here we are having all of these children come across the border unaccompanied just so they can disappear, right? Because it's interesting finding their birth certificates dropped off at the border wall. I mean, gosh, you don't need that if you're seeking asylum, right? But you do if you need to disappear.
And for the record, HHS is not involved in human trafficking, and there is a park already in the Tijuana River Valley, and it is not next to the sewage. Go ahead.
Thank you. We'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Or remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. And we'll start with our first caller.
So yeah, I'm going to touch base on a little bit of all of them. It's very unfortunate what's happening regarding home, sewage, all of it. You have money for things, and you say you're going to have Planned Parenthood and the killing of babies until your last breath. All about my set. Stop interrupting me.
No, what item are you speaking to?
I'm speaking on all of them. Get it?
No, what item are you?
You're the chair, and you're the chair. You're the chair, and you don't understand that I'm speaking on all of them.
Please tell me what item you're speaking to.
I'm speaking on all of them.
Okay.
You read them. Okay? You're so threatened. You are so threatened with people speaking the truth. You hate it. You hate it so much, and you're so fearful. That's why you have, and you're wasting money on.
If you don't speak on the item, we're gonna go ahead and turn off your mic, ma'am.
I'm done.
Yeah.
First Amendment rights.
Somebody have a problem?
Hello, this is Catherine Rose, and I'm talking about item 7, communications received, specifically CR 17, which is the report back on the initial site review related to making county land available for emergency homeless shelter solutions. So this has been going on at least 3 years. I'm so disappointed you only found one property. That's literally not good enough. And there's so much wrong things here in this opinion, report. It's only 3 pages. I believe you need a legal opinion, and I'm asking for this to be sent to county council so they can give you the legal opinion and give you information. The first thing you need to have a legal opinion is that CEQA or discretionary permits are not required for homeless shelters because we have the shelter crisis declaration. You've already opened a front shelter with no CEQA and no discretionary permits already in the Midway area. So, not true. What you have here in your report is not true. The shelter crisis gets rid of people in public hearings for homeless. The shelter crisis declaration, no discretionary permits are needed. CEQA and public meetings are not required for the existing structure. You need money. You have $40 million in successor agency to the redevelopment agency in the 1992 ECD agreement for cooperation. Ron Roberts actually voted on, and then he used that money to build the waterfront park and a little parking structure. Everybody in all the different things for homeless, all the churches, all the nonprofits says we need to have at least 1 year of operation cost. And instead of bringing you that they need not just the tiny homes, but they need the operation cost for a year. Otherwise, no churches, nonprofits can afford to take all these homeless people. But if you give them operation costs, they will. They want to. We're so desperate for it. And the staff are supposed to come before you and say that you could. Now they throw in the light looking top.
Thank you. Next call.
All about 2. National City is not a good location for a secured hospital ward if, as you say, you want to serve the South County area. Something more central South County is needed, like Chula Vista, Nestor, maybe even part of Ojai, but something then a few blocks away from San Diego. Of course, there's no map. Don't tell anyone where the hospital is. Again, patient reviews are bad. 2.5 on Yelp, and employee reviews are only middling. Overcrowded, dirty ER, patients released before they are recovered. Mistake CDPH has penalized the hospital twice in the last 3 years. Sounds like another contract with a lousy provider like the Exodus contract you approved last time. Don't know what's going on with HCSA. But you want to transfer $125,000 for restrooms at Sweetwater Bike Park? Not sure why these are supplemental. Was it not considered in the original funding the people that might need to peer through? Sweetwater Bike Park, though, sounds fun and a good idea. TJ River Park, on the other hand, is a big no. You're calling for medical and pollution assessments right here in state agenda. The sewage problem is out of control. We're not ready to establish or fund a park, let alone a gateway. Although, I must note for the record that in Turkey, there's a place known as the gateway to hell, which is basically a temple to the god of the underworld built over a pit of toxic fumes. Maybe this is what you need to install as a physical reminder of the dangers of sewage.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Calvin Barrios. I'm calling on behalf of the Laborers Union Local 89 on the consent agenda on the appointment of, we're calling in support of the appointment of Clayton Lackey from the Carlsbad Jet Center to serve as the business interestee to the Palomar Airport Advisory Commission. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next call.
It's true, item 1, sliding glass doors worth $10,000 from Savannah and Randall meets to the church for Tita Substation Gym. It's a great donation. Only question. Center refers to the doors in the past tense. Is this an approval after the fact? Is that legal? Item 2, almost $1 million for Prime Healthcare Paradise Valley LLC to build awards for some other hospitals and inmates too. Since so many inmates are dying due to lack of proper medical attention, I'm suspicious on whether this additional award will actually help. Especially because the scam known as behavioral health translates to calling people crazy, locking them up, and putting them on drugs like we're still in the eugenics era. Inmates currently get sent to Tri-City and Oceanside, despite the fact that Tri-City's operating room director Gary Johnson was accused of burglary and is accused of sexually assault a staff for at her home. Great task. I agree, if this $98.4 million money funneled from and back to the state and HSA for Medi-Cal recipients to be locked up in BS for department of behavioral health prison day spas, pretty vacation and crazy Edgemore, I'm against it. And 4, $75 fee on real estate documents for the state can have a trust fund that goes towards homes they prefer and where they prefer, to the county. $11.8 million for stacking tax for rent. There's allegedly an amendment to give out taxpayer money to a select few towards a down payment on an ADU, an overpriced box, not a real house. Item 5, North building on $125,000 for a restroom at the Sweetwater Bike Park, and another $125,000 for the Sweetwater River Valley Park. Nothing to do with equity. It's just taxpayer money finally going towards the type of things people actually want. Item 6, note of Paul Joe starts with the Board of Retirement. Lawyer Paul was involved with an audit given a Rockefeller Public Service Board, and maybe that's why in 2018 when he was on the Sandbag Audit Committee, he didn't seem to dig deep enough on the corruption numbers. Paul also co-founded a biotech company, Q3DM, which worked in Novartis and had a grant from NIH to develop 3D cell imaging for 3D artificial livers. And notice Clayton Lackey, the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee, seems to have conflicts of interest being the manager of Cinema Aviation and with Carlson.
Thank you. Next call.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. This is Ann Riddle. I called in today to lend my support to consent item 3. On the face of it, it's sort of an automatic thank you, if you will, that federal money, that is Medicaid, comes to California in the form of Medi-Cal. And I understand here in our county that a third of our citizens take advantage of Medi-Cal. And particularly this item 3 identifies a group of concerns that's important to me, and that's foster care children, those in foster care and those post-foster care. And that the acceptance of this money will be a commitment to our Live Well San Diego vision of healthy, safe, and thriving communities. I just want to mention that our Live Well San Diego vision includes 3 things: improved nutrition, increased physical activity, and the prevention of smoking, which I might add, vaping. And so I'm concerned that we recognize the role that products that are smoked and vaped produce in causing the leading cause of death and preventable disease, not only here in San Diego County, but this country. So I continue concerned for any expansion of smoking and vaping businesses like marijuana businesses and tobacco storefronts. We really don't think here in the backcountry that increasing the number of marijuana businesses and tobacco businesses out here really is in the best interest of the county's live well vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, here for the next caller.
Hello, Chair Vargas and the members of the board. I, Ross Gilday, a colleague of Clayton Lakey at Palomar Airport. I am the CEO of Premier Air Charter, and I'm here to express my strong support for his appointment to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee. Blaine has a proven track record of dedication and expertise in aviation. His insights and innovation ideas have significantly benefited our operations, and I'm confident that his contributions to the committee will be equally impactful. He possesses the knowledge and vision needed to address the challenges and opportunities facing Palomar Airport. Please consider his appointment for the betterment of our airport and community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now, for the next caller.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, members of the board, and supervisors. My name is Rick Bosteller, and I am the president of Palomar Aviation, a flight training company here at Palomar Airport. I have the pleasure of working alongside Mr. Clayton Lackey at Palomar Airport and wholeheartedly support his appointment to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee. His extensive experience in aviation, his deep understanding of our airport's operations make him an invaluable asset. He has consistently demonstrated a commitment to enhancing the airport's economic viability and improving its services for the community. His appointment will undoubtedly contribute to the continued success of Palomar Airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. That concludes the request for comment on items in the consent calendar.
All right, we have a motion and a second, please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye. First item for discussion will be agenda item number 8, entitled Rescind Board Actions from March 12, 2024, item 18, related to Hamashaw sleeping cabins and exploring other sites for homeless solutions in the Spring Valley area.
All right, so before I turn it over to the public, I want to make some comments, and as we're talking about equity, I think it's important to really have this conversation, and it strikes me that as you know, we're talking about, and first I want to say thank you to my colleagues for voting for us to be able to provide the resources to ensure that our youth, particularly youth, because bathrooms will be accessible to everybody in Tijuana River Valley, and know that bathrooms are not going to be in the sewage, as people have said. I always find it interesting that some of the times when people are speaking, they've actually never been to the locations, and that's what I have found, particularly on this issue. I would hope that folks that are making comments and having conversations about what's happening in Hamashaw Road, I invite you to actually come and see where this location was going to be, and I want you to know that the folks who have come before us and the community members from Hamashaw Road, particularly Spring Valley, from my district, are wonderful human beings, and they know they are not NIMBYs. They are not people who don't believe that homeless folks and people who are in shelter should not have shelter. They actually have had conversations with me, even when I was unable to speak. They have met with me and have had conversations, and they're lovely people who want to find solutions for their community. However, I think that we as a board made some decisions, and the reason why I'm bringing this forward to you today and asking that we rescind previous board action of the sleeping cabins is because although I think that as, you know, one of my top priorities has been to address this homeless crisis here in San Diego County, and it continues to be an issue that requires all hands on deck, right? State, county, and city leaders working together. And I'm very grateful, Governor our homeless solution team has done amazing work. In the case of the Hamasha Road project, the concerns of our local residents, I think, once we took a deeper drive, really, I think I heard them loud and clear. And the fact is that we took this vote in March, and after listening to them and going down there, visiting them, and looking at the numbers, there's 129, according to the point in time count, 129 folks that are in shelter that have been identified in Spring Valley. And as we look at finding both temporary and permanent housing, and we know that there's 5,000 unhoused people throughout San Diego County, I think it's important that we think about, you know, this particular location where there's working families who reside, and that as we're thinking about where these sites where these homeless solutions are going to be sited, it can't just be where working families are. And let me be clear, right? The only site that was proposed for the sleeping cabins project in San Diego County was in my district, in this particular area, and it's a working class community. It's a community like mine. And addressing the homeless crisis is a shared responsibility that should not be taken on alone by any one community, and I think we can all agree to that. I think the residents of Spring Valley shouldn't be expected to carry responsibility that is also shared by the residents of any other neighborhoods in San Diego. The residents of Spring Valley made their concerns heard loud and clear about building sleeping cabins in the heart of existing neighborhoods where families live in parks and schools where children learn and play. And after hearing the community concerns, I personally visited the neighborhood where the proposed project would have been built. And it's very clear that this was not going to be a positive step for either the existing neighborhood or for the unhoused population it was intended to serve. Our constituents invited me into their home to see firsthand how this project directly impacts their families, particularly one of our UDW members invited me to their home, and then I was able to see exactly where everything was going to be. And so her childcare business and many of her neighbors really rely and the support of their families. And so they've created a very beautiful environment where the children can play outdoors in their backyard. And the project that we were proposing was going to really be up against their backyard, and the separation is a chain link fence. And to me, I think that it's a little bit short-sighted and not really what is best in the best interest of their home. And so I think we can do better. I think that we can't, do this to them right now, and it's not what we need to do. And so I think everyone on this board understands that we have a shared responsibility to make sure that we have solutions for our shelter population in this crisis, and that there's our community-oriented solutions, and this particular one is not going to work for us. I think we all must take responsibility. I take responsibility as well. This looked like a really wonderful opportunity when it was presented to all of us. And we were moving very fast. There was community work that was done, and it looked like a great place for us to do it at the time. But there needed to be more community input, and the people that were being impacted, I think we fell short of listening to them and hearing them from them firsthand. And so there is no money that's being sent. I think that there's a false allegation that there's money being sent, $10 million being sent back. We have not gotten $10 million in our bank account that is being sent back. So that is not true. That's a fallacy. The $10 million proposed by the state for a sleeping cabin project was just that, a proposal. The funding had not been awarded or received or encumbered by the county. I want to just make that very clear. What we're doing is listening to our community by rescinding the approval for the District 1 Sleeping Cabins project. And so I don't want to create any more harm. And so what we want to do is work more with the communities to establish a plan that figures out how we invest the $8.5 million of American Recovery Plan funding to equitably homeless solutions. So I want my colleagues, there's 5 recommendations that I'm asking my colleagues to support us. What's really critical about Spring Valley is that Spring Valley is a community, right? I think my colleague Supervisor Anderson used to represent this community as well, did a lot of work in that area. I have mentioned to the community of Spring Valley that this is a community that is new to me. When I ran for office 4 years ago, I did not represent this community. I am now your new representative, and so I want to better understand a lot of the needs, how I can better serve you, and it's a community that I share with Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, and so her and I both want to make sure that we do what is best for Spring Valley, and so together we're going to find solutions. I am having a community meeting on July 2nd, and we are bringing the whole community team from the county so we can identify some of the community solutions together. But for now, I think the best solution is to really think about rescinding the Hamasha sleeping cabins for that particular location. And so I asked my colleagues to accept my recommendations in the board letter, and so I would like to make a motion to support it before I turn it over to the public for comment. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 42 requests to speak on this item, 26 in person, 16 requesting to speak by phone. Also note that we received 91 e-comments, 60 in favor, 26 in opposition, and 1 neutral. Also note that we received 2 individuals registered their support but did not wish to address the board. Any individual that requested to speak on item H by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of the recommendations. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'll be calling you in groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to first invite forward Angelica Camargi, Gustavo Gallegos, Patricia Hereford, Jesse Robles, and Craig Hendricks. I'll call your name, please come forward. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board.
Thank you. My name is Angelica Camargo. I'm from Spring Valley. I'm very emotional right now. First of all, I want to say thank you, Nora Vargas, for listening to us. I want to ask everyone else to support the chairwoman on this decision. If you guys are able to drive to walk to our area, you guys know that we are a working community. We have schools, and if you guys have any families, you will not be comfortable letting your kids walk into school and passing through there. We have a very big problem with fentanyl. And if any of those kids get hurt, who's going to be taking responsible over this? Please, like I say, I want to thank again Nora Vargas. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for everything you're doing for this community, for our community, and to everyone else, please support her decision on canceling this project. Thank you, Monica Montgomery, for being part of this team. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, supervisors. My name is Jesse Robles. First, I'd like to thank you all for the work that you have done and continue to do, as well as your staff in our communities. I'm proud to represent the communities of La Presa and Spring Valley as a member of the community planning group and as a director for San Miguel Fire. I'd like to echo what has already been stated. Before this meeting, we have sent letters to each of the supervisors outlining the different situations that make this project unique compared to other homeless solutions, and we really do implore that you support the chairwoman's recommendations to rescind and reassess this project. Thank you very much, and hope to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Craig Hendricks, and I want to thank Nora Vargas right off the bat and her staff for all of the support that she has been giving us. Over the last several years, as a matter of fact, I've had a lot of direct dealings with her office in dealing with the homeless situation that is in our neighborhoods. And it became very obvious quickly that it was not a situation of people being homeless or for some other reason that they just were down on their luck. They were dealing with mental illness issues, they were dealing with substance abuse issues. And in some cases, they just lived outside the convenience of the law. The situation that we have right now would be inappropriate to have sleeping cabins. And I am fully in favor of Nora Vargas' extension of this project. Because it would not, all it would do is exacerbate current problems that need to be addressed.
and I'm very sympathetic to the needs and concerns of the homeless. These 150 tiny cabins will have up to 300 people in the community, and this will, and it affects thousands of people who live there. Ms. Vargas already addressed a lot of the things almost that I had written down here. A few that she did not mention was that corner is very, very dangerous. The homeless that are living there now, they run across the street. It's a major exit off the freeway. There's a major light there. They're constantly running across the street with oncoming traffic. I've seen almost, I don't know how many people almost get hit, because they're a lot of times dragging things, you know, their belongings with them, instead of crossing at the proper locations. The facility where you are gonna put this, like she was saying, they're all along people's backyards. There's a childcare center there. They've seen naked homeless people running around. The kids brought it to the attention of the childcare person. Mount Monroe High School, the parking lot butts against where the property is gonna be. That's not high school. The kids from Avondale and La Presa are gonna have to walk that way every day to and from school. And as we know, there are some homeless people that do drugs, and they leave their paraphernalia and their leftover sex things down on the floor. And our kids are walking by and seeing these things and picking them up and wondering what they are, and it's very dangerous. The homeless need more compassion. We need to build a facility where they can get all the services they need in one location. Thank you.
So the next speakers coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers. David Covarrubias, Gilbert Chavez, Victoria Chavez, Jimmy Rosario, and Mark. Please come forward.
Sí, buenos días. Mi nombre es Gustavo Gallegos.
Okay, good morning. My name is Gustavo Gallegos.
Quisiera preguntar a las personas que hicieron este proyecto si alguna de ellos hace el sentimiento de tener un hijo en peligro.
I just would like to know, and this is what I'm asking to the people that did this project, if they have ever had a feeling that they are in danger.
Y no están cerca de ellos para ayudarlos. Aquí está la prueba de lo que puede pasar si están en estas cabinas.
And not be able to be close to them, you know, to help them. Here it is, the proof of what would happen if this got in.
Una de estas personas entró en un patio estando ubicada en la casa. Imagínense la desesperación de no poder ayudarlo.
One of these people, one of those persons came over to my patio, you know, when my daughter was home. And you just imagine how I felt because I was not able to go in and help her.
Manejé como loco de mi trabajo a casa para poder ayudarlo.
I drove from my house home. I was driving like crazy in order to get home to be able to help her.
Cuando pude llegar a mi casa, un familiar mío ya estaba afuera tratando de ayudar con esta persona.
Okay, when I got there, one of our relatives was already outside, you know, at my house trying to help this person.
Eso no fue todo. Ella se molestó porque le reclamamos sacando un cuchillo y tratando de herirnos.
That was not the end of it, you know, she got upset, you know, because, you know, we were just asking her what she was doing there, and she threatened us with a knife.
La policía tardó demasiado en llegar, tuvimos que correr para estar a salvo.
The police took them a long time to get home, so we have to run in order to feel safe.
¿Se imaginan instalar a estas personas? ¿Saben cuántas personas son agresores sexuales?
Can you imagine if this installation people are, you know, sexual predators out there?
¿Cómo van a controlar a 300 personas que la mayoría tienen problemas de adicción y no están bien sus facultades mentales?
And how are you going to control 300 people that they have problems with addiction and they are not good, you know, with the mental skills?
No estoy en contra de que lo hagan, son seres humanos igual que nosotros, pero creo que deberían buscar un lugar apropiado.
I'm not against you doing anything like this at all, but I do think that you need to find, you know, another proper place.
Y tratar de no afectar a nadie y lo más importante, tener a nuestras familias a salvo.
So, try not to affect anyone, and more important than anything is your families can be safe. And thank you for listening.
Good morning, my name is David Covarrubias, 21-year resident of Spring Valley, a member of the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. I'd like to start off by thanking Chairwoman Vargas for hearing our voice and making a wise decision. So I'm asking for the rest of the supervisors to make that same wise choice. None of us are against the homeless. We all want them to get help, but these people that are living in that field are criminals. They do not want help. They are continuously breaking into people's yards, stealing their property, and threatening them with violence when they're confronted. In my opinion, the only way to solve this is we need to force these people to get help, to get clean, and rejoin society. That's the only way. Any other thing is just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, and that's not going to work. Well, that's my humble opinion, but again, I'd like to thank Chairwoman Vargas for hearing our voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker, please.
Good morning, board members. My name is Gilbert Chavez. I'm representing the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. First of all, I really want to thank Nora Vargas for her work and her dedication to come out and look at the property and talk to us. If you just look at how many people are behind me that supports this project to stop the houses out there and help the homeless. When was the last time you had this participation in a community that wants to help? And that's all we're saying. We want to be part of the solution. We want to sit down and help the homeless. I want to work with the county. I want to see how we can fix this problem. In the last year, the homeless has doubled. We're not solving the problem. There's got to be a better solution. We got to sit down and do something different. How about a participation between the county and the community? Let's be novel about this and do something different. We can spend money and do something in a better, positive way than what we're doing now, because it isn't working. It isn't. We've spent billions of dollars in the state of California, and the homeless is growing. Why? Because we're doing something wrong. Let's do something different. Let's help them in a fashion that works. We have over 2,000 petition signatures in this little community that want to do something to help the homeless and stop that real cabin area. There's a better place to put them. There's a better solution. There's a better thought. We have thoughts. We have ideas. Let's sound them back and forth and see what works. Because I think that's the only way we're going to fix it. We're not going to do that by just throwing money at them. We've proven it doesn't work. So let's sit down and do something different. And that's all we're proposing. So I hope, and again, I want to thank Nora Vargas, because you know why? She came to the site. She came and talked to us. That's a representative. That's somebody that listens to us. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Chavez, and I'm also with the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. Again, thank you, Nora, for listening to all of us. We appreciate you so much. And of course, my comments today are in protest of the Habitat sleeping cabins. The Spring Valley residents are against the location of the cabin due to its proximity to the Mount Miguel High School and the several elementary school and daycares. So one of the things we have wondered is if it's our economic status that is bringing and dictating the location of the project, and we hope that's not the case. Obviously, the children of our community are number one priority, just like any other parent who lives in the county. And I'm talking about La Jolla or Del Mar. We all love our children just the same. Also, crime, we already have it. We have vandalism, and this project hasn't even begun. It hasn't even started, and we already have our own problems that we're trying to deal with now. Discussions with the fire department and sheriff department revealed they're not in favor of the project since they're already short-staffed. This will only cause slower response time for the whole community at large. Giving the homeless a place to sleep will not fix their addictions or mental health issues. The project that they had in Chula Vista is already closed. That was only a 65 cabin project. And it's already closed, and it's obvious that it failed because there's no participation. There's no participation because the homeless don't want to follow the rules of society like you and I do. They prefer to live without any responsibility to society. I'd like to recommend a site that the county actually owns. The Camp Barrett Youth Correction Facility, which is on Lions Valley Road. This is a vacant facility in the Alpine area. It holds 135 people, and with refurbishment and upgrades to the building, this would be an optimal solution.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: Selena Maxwell, Stephanie Becker, looks like Larry Green or Carl Green, Allison Snow, and Angelica Mendoza. Audrey, please come forward.
Good morning, board members, and Secretary that Chairman Morris gave. Kind of already touched on a lot of the things that I just want to mention. We want to say thank you.
Can you please state your name?
Oh, my name is Jim Rosario, 24-year resident, Spring Valley, born and raised here in San Diego. Again, Nora Vargas's introduction kind of touched on everything I was going to mention. I do want to say thank you to Nora Vargas and her team for actually coming out to the site and engaging with the actual neighbors that were going to be impacted by this. I just want to say thank you again for proposing to rescind this, and I do ask the remaining 4 members to please vote in favor of rescinding it. Thank you again.
Mark, mixed feelings on this. First of all, it's great to get rid of the cabins because they're way too expensive and they house very few people. Also, of course, they're probably wood and would deteriorate or be eaten by termites. People will not understand at all what's going on. The guy asked the question, how could the homeless problem keep getting worse no matter how much money you throw out? That's why. It's a business. People are making money off this in government and non-governmental organizations. A lot of money. And they don't want to solve the problem. That's what keeps the money coming in. And all these salaries for these people making $200,000 a year as supervisors. So you need to see the Rosa Corey video to understand how they are intentionally destroying our economy. And she is a California recognized court witness, an expert in land use and property evaluation in eminent domain. So see this video from 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and you'll understand a lot more about what's going on. Of course, we should 3D print houses instead, and we should be subsidizing the rent with two-thirds of our tax dollars. You could just not make people pay that and just have people pay a third, or just let them stay in the 3D printed structures. You could have 2,000 10 by 40 structures. That's 400 square feet. And of course, you put 2 of them together, it's 800 square feet. That's what a lot of people grew up in around here 50 years ago, or some people still do. This is way cheaper. It's completely better. They could also be used to house, after your counselors help them with bank accounts and jobs, and they reintegrate into society. You could use these structures to help the flood victims or any other victims that come up. They're also mobile, transportable, stackable. It's such a scam that you're doing this in the way you're making money and degrading our society. People need to see the Rosa Corey video.
Hello, good morning. My name is Selena Maxwell, and thank you, Ms. Vargas. I have 2 sisters that they choose to be homeless. One is an Army vet, and Housing, I understand that housing is provided for veterans, but some of us choose not to get the help, or we're in denial about it, and both of my sisters are. One of them in particular, sometimes I see her, but she chooses to be there, and it hurts me every time because she couldn't live with me and my kids, which is why I don't believe she should be around anyone else's kids. And she has had her kids taken away from her because of her decisions. And so I do believe there is a place that homeless people should be, so that they can be contained. They may not want the help that's offered to them, or they don't want to go by the rules, which is why they're there. But being around schools and daycare providers where my children go when I'm working, it's still sad, but I believe they should have a place, and we can work together for that. And thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Stephanie Becker. I want to discuss the homeless in Spring Valley because you're taking a community that is already struggling. The bigger concern is you talk about the empathy for the homeless, but we have to have empathy for the communities that are going to suffer from that. Well, we also hear about how we're going to house them and mental illness and drug addiction, whatever. But we don't hear about any parameters or requirements. So we're going to give them this shelter, but we have no parameters. Are we requiring people to stay sober? Are we requiring people to get into trade programs? What are the parameters for the people that are now going to be living there? None of that is communicated to the community that you want to put it in. There's no transportation there. There's no job possibilities there. It's not a productive place for people if you're giving them a hand up. But it sounds more like we're giving a hand out, and we're just sticking people to say we did something. But we didn't really do anything, because there'll be shelter so they can shower and they can have a roof. But what are they doing all day? Are they just roaming the community? Because that's not productive. And none of us, including all of you sitting up there, none of us have gotten anything for not doing anything. It's just a fact of life. I sit here and I watch today, and the behavior from the supervisors was really disheartening. I watched Joel Anderson eat his breakfast as he chunked away on food, not caring about who was speaking in. It's your constituents that are speaking to you. I watched Lawson Reamer, who used to be my representative because I lived in Del Mar, not once look up and make eye contact. There are two people that are making eye contact and listening to your speakers, which is Chairwoman Vargas and Monica Montgomery-Steele. That's it. Nobody else cares. If that's the response we're getting here, what are we going to get when you put 300 homeless into a community and there's a problem?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, my name is Angelica Mendoza. First, I wanted to start off by thanking Chairwoman Laura Vargas and Monica Montgomery for listening to us. Our community has been working really hard to try to get this on the agenda, and today everybody is really happy to get it on the agenda, and hopefully it gets rescinded. I have a packet here so that all the supervisors can see the proximity and all of the stuff we have been talking, so you can see the proximity that is to Mount Miguel. If you look one way, you would be able to look at the Mount Miguel High School. If you turn around, you'll be able to see the exit that's on the Habasha. And children walking to Avondale and on campus would be able to see the homeless. So we just want to make sure that you guys know that you are going to be affecting more than 4,000 children. There's 7 schools, like a lot of people have already mentioned, and the Little Leagues, not to mention. So like I said, I just want to make sure that you guys know that all of these people, I have this hard work, we have all the signatures, there's also an online petition. And once again, I want to say thank you to guys for bringing it, and I hope you guys make the right decision today. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Larry Green, longtime resident of Spring Valley. Thank you, Ms. Vargas, for rescinding your idea that Spring Valley was a good place to have this homeless encampment, which totally I was against. When I first heard about it, that Mr. Anderson over here decided to recommend Spring Valley, I was wondering, well, do we know anyone there? Back in 2022, I think you guys voted on having a homeless encampment put there. Now we're all the way here in 2024, where now you're realizing that that is not, or Spring Valley entirely, it's not a place to put this encampment. I think what you should do is get together and think about where you should put this, and it's not Spring Valley. I think if you would have actually did your job a long time ago, we wouldn't be at this particular point right now for you trying to vote again, hopefully voting to rescind this particular project. Now, my thought is, if you really want to do something for Spring Valley, why don't you do something that benefited it? Okay, why don't you make that little area that where you was going to put the homeless encampment to use for the community? Put something there that the entire community can use. Okay, look around Spring Valley, see what you can do for it to improve it, instead of trying to put something in it that you know we don't want. Okay? You know, now Monica and you, Nora Byers, basically have an opportunity at hand. You could come up with some ideas to enlighten our, or improve our area.
Thank you. Time's up. As the next speakers coming forward, I'd like to invite the speakers in opposition, Evangeline, Audra, and Hermes.
Good morning. My name is Allison Snow. I'm here and I wear two hats. The first hat is I run the Housing Rights Legal Clinic at the University of San Diego. So we are on the ground meeting with people who are currently in housing crisis, that are experiencing housing instability. And my second hat is as a councilwoman on the Lemon Grove City Council. We were disheartened. Originally, we've been working so hard with the county and with Caltrans and the state to try and reach a solution for East County on our homeless problem. We have so many people who are living without residences, and I hear the complaints about putting this in a working class neighborhood, but the new face of homelessness is the working class. The new face of homelessness are two parents who both have jobs with two children who can't afford $3,500 a month for rent. These people don't want to have to move to Alpine to be able to get to their doctors, to take their kids to school. The new face of homelessness is the working class. People cannot afford rent where it is right now. That's my experience on the Housing Rights Legal Clinic. The people who I serve every day, those are the people who are coming for assistance. So we need to find a way to help our working class families stay in their community while they try to get on their feet. In order to do this, now I'm putting on my hat as the Lemon Grove City Councilwoman, also representing the other council members and our mayor, and pleading with support on behalf of East County to be able to have a good community partner with the county to do community engagement and provide the wraparound services that we need. Looking at alternative locations, Troy Street was one of them. We are eager to pursue this. We are eager to help our unhoused, and please look to East County for solutions. Use those ARPA funds and dedicate them to the East County. We really need that money out there. We don't have any low barrier shelters, and that's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That person uses the name Audra. To set the record straight, Nora and Eric, HHS does traffic humans. So I'll keep on topic. I'm just setting the record straight. Okay. So anywho, yeah, this is a big business, and it's very sad to see how people talk about the homeless. Like they want them out of sight, out of mind, and that's the way they're treated. It's very sad. When you put them into any of these shelters, it's like a compound that they're locked away in with security, and they can only leave and come and go at certain times. They don't have freedoms, and you push them away back and back and back so people forget about it. It's like if we got down to the root of the problem, instead of hiding people away and being secretive about it, like people shouldn't see it in the community, It's sad because we should see it and we should look at it so that we can change it instead of perpetuating the problem. But you don't get rid of the problem when you deal with homelessness, because you can't. Just like Big Pharma, you can't have no sick people, otherwise you don't have a business. So it's sad to see how these people are treated. You could do a lot more with it, but so much money gets thrown at homelessness and the problem just gets worse and 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 worse. Because if you were actually good at what you did, because any other business, this is a business too, this whole corporation, they would be done. Their business wouldn't exist because they're failing miserably at everything that they're doing. And it's just sad to see that we'll give these individuals paraphernalia and stuff to do drugs and then try and condemn them for it and demonize them for it and then want to put them on some other drugs. Get off those drugs, come and we'll put you on these drugs. So it's sad, and yes, HHS traffics humans and children.
Next speaker,
Hermes here. Wow, I'm surprised we're talking about homeless. It's not like, people could re-register them at all and, take their ballot and vote for them. And these locations are great locations in harvesting ballots. But it's a good thing the fact that the registrar of voters refuses to look at this.
Can you please focus on the item?
Yeah, number 8, homeless. And yes, I definitely am talking about the homeless problem. And I'm talking about how you guys are using the homeless to keep you guys in office. I mean, it's very simple, because once we go ahead and examine these ballots and we determine that a majority of these may have been fraudulent, we'll understand exactly why, how much money goes into the homeless problem. It would be it would make sense. It is actually a business, and the business is to get power and to pull our funds from us and all that stuff. So they go ahead and move homeless into these locations, find tiny homes, don't really care about them, load them up with drugs and send them off on their way because they got what they wanted, their signature, their ballot, that they could go ahead and vote for. But yet, we don't want to go ahead and look into this, even though that there's several cases, including Fulton County recently, that people are doing exactly that. Yet, Claudia wants to go ahead and send her war dogs after me and tell me that I'm going to be going to jail if I keep on talking about this. Well, apparently, we'll find out. So, my question is, are you going to look at these signatures? Are you going to let me look at these signatures? Or are you going to keep on hiding the fraud and continue this going until the wrong person wins, which I'm really, really praying Trump 2024, baby. Because when that happens, the media will bury you for all the times that I showed up here. Have a good day.
Now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will
Very
be
good.
unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell each meeting your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
Hello, I'm glad that you finally came to your senses and are rescinding this item. How much should it cost for planning prep work? Next time, you need a map and the board letter itself, and don't do it on the quick. Reduce shelters would be a good solution,
really
or
wanted to shut me up.
a congregate shelter such as the grants that I told you about. And please consider all sites, not just the Spring Valley area, whatever that means. This is a county issue. Putting a homeless shelter right next to a school is not a good idea. To me, like someone planned a meeting that maybe wanted this so badly that they did not listen or excluded people by scheduling it at inconvenient hours. And it's almost like saying that. And all for a few hundred homeless people, you can do a lot better, especially with all that land you're buying up for parks and nature preserves. Ladies and gents, you have a homeless crisis. You should put the people you represent and of this country, may I add, ahead of plants and animals. Thanks.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Hadi Sheikh Mohammed. First of all, I want to thank the committee for allowing me to speak about this very important matter. I am a longtime resident of Spring Valley. I have to say that I'm very surprised that we even have to discuss this. I am definitely for rescinding the construction of homeless cabins in the area, but I'm surprised because my neighbors and I, who a lot of them already spoke, and Chairwoman Nora Vargas also spoke about how constructing this cabins in our backyard, literally in my backyard, where my toddler is playing, running around in the backyard that I paid for, in the home that I paid high taxes on, being exposed to men and women who are not the typical homeless that somebody else earlier was saying, the new homeless picture, which is men and women who are working class, who don't have homes. That's not who we're dealing with here. We're dealing with men and women who have long-term drug and alcohol use disorders. They have mental health illnesses. They choose to be in this area and they choose to be homeless. These are the people that are using IV drugs in my backyard where my daughter is exposed to. We are exposing our children. My daughter who attends my neighbor's daycare, who my neighbor has to constantly put the children back into the house because they are exposed to men and women performing lewd acts. And then having the sheriff's department, whom I pay and I help and fund, because as an internal medicine doctor who wants to live in her community, serve her community, I live here, and these men and women, these police officers, do not respond to the threats, credible threats, illegal activities happening.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Consuelo. So yeah, the trust is gone, especially with our homelessness issue. I love how the people keep saying how it was great of Nora to come out. Reminder to the tax-paying citizen in the chambers, it's her job. Another reminder, this is due and will never be solved because the homelessness issue is in fact lucrative. They get a lot of money for it, okay? So these politicians are supposed to work for us, and they don't. It's all because it's all to serve an agenda. And once you start paying attention and start really paying attention and coming to these meetings and seeing what Sandag and MTS and even the water board, your city council, all of it, show up. Don't just get involved when it affects you. Because like I said, they don't care about our homelessness population. They're just another number. I mean, there's so many layers to this. And it's gonna get a whole lot worse. It's gonna be a whole lot more chaotic. Why? Because we, the citizens, have allowed for it to get this way by trusting these reps. The trust is gone. Again, it's gone. So I encourage all of you to get involved, not only when it affects you and your community, but if you see your fellow neighbors struggling anywhere in the county, get involved and help. These politicians are truly good for nothing. So I say, not Trump 2024, the people 2024. Because ain't Trump or Biden, neither of them are going to help you or save us. It's up to us to take responsibility for ourselves and each other.
All right. Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jacqueline French, and I'm a resident in Spring Valley in a community called Dictionary Hill. I've been living in Spring Valley for over 24 years now. And it's been brought to my attention quite a while ago about the poles hammer-child sleeping cabinets. And I pass through that area on a daily basis, going to work, getting on Freeway 125 to go into San Diego. And I see where they want to put that, and it's most definitely not the area to place homeless encampments. More thought out, discipline and determination needs to be made of where to locate a community that will house the unhomeless. Right there is not the solution. I have witnessed more of a growth in homeless population, and what was stated before about the middle class working is families, and that's not going out here in Spring Valley. The homeless population, unfortunately, are a lot of people on drugs and alcoholism, and choice not to work and be a part of society. This community has grown positively. There are new housing developments where I live. There are $1 million plus homes here. There are people on this hill, especially my community of Dictionary Hill, that value this community. We support our businesses here. We do business with all of our local businesses in the valley.
I'll hear from the next caller. Next caller is Raquel Vasquez. Your device might be muted. And we'll come back to that caller.
Seth Barron. Hi, my name is Seth Barron. I am at the East County Regional Task Force on Homelessness right now. I just wanted to speak to the need of shelters in this area specifically. Currently, there are no low barrier shelters in the county or even anywhere in the county that are open and available and have access room. Additionally, specifically here, there are over 110 families that are currently on a wait list, which means that they are homeless on the streets, and all they are asking for is shelter and a place to rest their head at night, and they are not able to get that anywhere in this county. So I think that the need is very strong for projects like this, and we need to have more low barrier shelters.
Thank you. Go back to that last caller. Again, Raquel Vasquez, your device might be muted. We'll come back to that caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, this is Shane Harris, the president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates. I just want to first and foremost thank Supervisor Nora Vargas for her leadership, both compassionately understanding that we have a crisis on the streets and we need to do something, but also compassionately equally understanding her taxpayers and understanding the people and the residents and the neighbors and the children who are concerned about the safety measures to implement something like this cabin project. So I want to thank you, Supervisor Vargas, for doing what the common sense leader does. Analyze what the constituents are saying and try to make a pivot. And so therefore, the pivot, I think, is being suggested by Supervisor Monica Montgomery Stepp, who I want to thank for her leadership in District 4 of redirecting another strategy. And therefore, her strategy is to look at redirecting that $10 million in state money toward the city of Lemon Grove, which is next to Spring Valley. We know that East County is tremendously in need of shelter. I'm asking you, supervisors and Monica Montgomery Stepp, to meet with Lemon Grove constituents and the leadership of Lemon Grove and to strategize about what that looks like if the city of Lemon Grove was to establish something like that on, I believe Troy Street was mentioned earlier by a council member. That is, I think, a next step, potential option. We should give that state money, and we should redirect it, but I think it should be done compassionately and understanding constituents in which you are looking at placing it. So please have a conversation with the Lemon Grove constituents. But I think we need to do something. We just need to be strategic and ensure that everyone is a part of this holistic approach to solving homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for the next caller.
Hello, this is Catherine Rose, and what I want to do is, and I'm glad that there's an alternative from Monica Montgomery Stepp. There's so many solutions. Anyway, for this 150 beds, 18.5 million with 5 to 6 million in annual operation costs. That's $123,333 for each tiny home constructed, and then $40,000 for operating costs for each tiny home. That's $163,000 per tiny home. When we had all these online meetings for years to talk about the churches and nonprofits working with the county. We told them we need operation costs. But your staff told us if we get $10,000 for each tiny home, then the churches have to build their own accessory structures like bathrooms and showers. And then they said the churches also have to have all the operating costs. The county's not going to help with any operating costs. And here you're trying to give out $163,000 per tiny home. I believe that you could get 10, and instead of having a big 150-bed shelter, I believe you should have 10 churches and nonprofits get 15 beds apiece. And then remember, with no CEQA, discretionary permits, public hearings, because we have the shelter place declaration, it only works for the churches and nonprofits that at least receive $1 from the county or city. They cannot do this without you. Please, somebody call me so I can go through this and show you how your staff basically sabotaged everybody to do with the nonprofits and churches that were trying to do this by saying we're only going to give us $10,000 for the tiny home, and then they're not going to give any operation costs, and they're not going to have any of the upfront costs to do the bathrooms or the showers or places where you could have food. So there's so many solutions. Please, 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 somebody call.
Thank you. Now, for the next caller.
Hi, Raquel Vasquez, and I serve as the mayor for the city of Lemon Grove. And I'm calling in today to share my support for agenda item number 8, led by Supervisor Nora Vargas, to listen to her constituents. I also join in the call that Supervisor Montgomery Stepp is making for the $10 million in state dollars to instead come to another part of her district, the city of Lemon Grove, which exists directly next to Spring Valley. I join in her call for the governor to help redirect these state dollars to Lemon Grove so that our county doesn't lose critical funding that would help us in the part of the county that actually lacks shelters, with the majority of them in the city of Lemon Grove. The majority of them in the city of San Diego. I want to collaborate with the county supervisors and our constituents for a public town hall discussion about the benefits of providing safe, monitored, and holistic shelter to those who fall on hard times, and about the supervisor's call to redirect these funds to Lemon Grove. The crisis in our streets is clear. In the 2023 point of time count, Lemon Grove was found to have nearly double its homeless population, with over 60 individuals found homeless. And it is the sharpest rise in the East County cities. Ultimately, the goal is to provide permanent supportive housing. That is why under my administration, I've led as a city of the 19 governments under the preview of SANDAG, only one, Lemon Grove, met the 4 standards during the last cycle of the state's Arena report. However, we must know that the path to permanent supportive housing sometimes starts with temporary supportive shelters that are safe and humane, that allow people to get on their feet. We want to partner with the county to make this a joint effort. Our proposed Women Grove site is ready for 8 to 9 townhomes or cabins, it is.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hey, Truth, of course, I'm after the mayor of Lemon Grove or Bo. What do you know? I guess Lemon Grove wants a shelter really badly. They're going to need more police, that's my opinion. And also, we're on item 8, not the consent, so you can't backwards comment, Nora. Stay on topic or I'm going to gavel you next time. Second, last month I tried to tell you guys there'd be problems with homeless people walking around this area next to busy highway traffic. You hadn't even considered installing new pedestrian safety measures like I recommended before just dumping cabins here. Nothing compassionate about throwing people near traffic. But luckily, the neighborhood quickly organized into action when they caught word of these $18.5 million cabin beds. They'll also cost $5 to $6 million a year to operate, probably more. I'm glad you listened this time, Nora, and decided to go back to the drawing board. But question, why didn't you visit the area before you approved the plan? Hello, that's your job. And what about Joe, who previously approved the plan? He didn't care what the community wanted either. That's the county MO. So nobody be surprised when the county does the same dirty tactic and throws another plan at the shelter dartboard without first asking anywhere their thoughts and getting their consent first. So for any future sleeping cabins anywhere, there needs to be substance abuse treatment included in the shelter system without harm reintroduction. And it needs to be required for those not living sober. There also needs to be workforce training and employment opportunities provided and required. High responsibility shelter is the only way to end homelessness permanently for all. The lesson from this rescinding decision should be that the county needs to start working with communities instead of against communities. Don't be like Todd Gloria, make backroom deals with big developers at outrageous costs to the taxpayers for projects that don't even work. Instead, use some of that dirty ARPA fraud money to hold town halls, listening sessions, set up an online survey, and have county staff actually visit the community instead of dictating to the community. Basic courtesy stuff. Don't disrespect the hardworking spring back.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Lippett. Thank you for letting me speak. I want to speak about the housing. Housing has failed at every level. Housing first policy, wasting taxpayer funds and spiking homelessness across our state. It's an extreme agenda, and the campaign cash for politicians, it's been a windfall. San Diego City Council member Von Wilpert, she's one of the very few electeds who is concerned about the excessive cost of government policies and why they continue to increase. She mentioned that developers were charging $750,000 to $1 million per unit, according to the Pacific Research Fund. The economic conflict of interest is a significant factor in incentivizing government-subsidized permanent supportive housing units. A shelter bed costs $2,700 a month. Conflating economically displaced homeless, those who have lost their jobs, couldn't pay the rent or their bills, with those who have mental health or addiction problems or who are chronically homeless is a huge mistake. Housing First has made homelessness much worse, wasting billions of taxpayer dollars in funded housing with zero accountability. The average American is $23,000 in debt. The state is $73 billion in debt, and the national debt is $34 trillion. That failure to appreciate basic economics is at every level of our society's problems today. There's a $1.6 trillion shortfall between government spending and revenue, and raising taxes is not the answer. It is government accountability, and stop wasting money on programs that have paradoxical outcomes. Thank you for letting me.
We'll now hear from the final caller.
Good morning, John Brady here with Lived Experience Advisors. We are a group of formerly homeless individuals that serve on over 40 different boards, committees, and commissions addressing our housing crisis and the resulting homelessness. Before I begin, I'd like to address some of the comments I heard today. The bulk of our newly homeless are driven into homelessness because of our housing affordability crisis, not because of issues like mental health and addiction. They are our seniors, our disabled, people with a health crisis or a financial crisis. In fact, the mental health and addiction issues grow or result from being homeless far too long. After 1 year on our streets and in our shelters, that damage becomes permanent, and the only thing that stops the accumulation of these effects is housing. That said, Leah, while largely in support of these types of projects, is concerned about the size and scale. We have a working model in place, amicus, allow faith-based organizations and similar organizations to host 10 to 20 of these cabin sites and allow case managers to serve them. It is cost effective, but the challenge is these institutions do not have the ability to make the infrastructure investments and changes necessary to accommodate these cabins. We highly recommend, just like we recommend to the city, that we reduce the scale and size of these types of projects to a more manageable number. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. That concludes public comment to the Senate.
Thank you. Supervisor Mohammed.
Thank you very, very much, Chairwoman Vargas, and thank you for bringing this forward and doing the due diligence that you did. There's a couple of things that I would like to say before I kind of go into asking some questions and clarifying the record on a couple of things. One is this is my exit to go home. So I know the area very well. I know the Smart and Final, the Albertsons, the Ross, the Target. This is where I live. And so it is also very important to me that my neighbors are heard. This is not my district, right? So I'm really, really glad the leadership of Chairwoman Vargas because I think it's very important for us to honor and respect folks' boundaries and districts. So I also would like to thank my staff for being engaged with the community as well. This issue in particular is overall is a moral issue. I have two sort of different lenses that I look at any issue around homelessness and taking care of those who do not have homes. And one is the fact that I look at myself as someone who really, my life could have ended up a very different way if I had not had my family take care of me through sickness. So it's very hard for me to cast judgment on folks that may have made a few bad decisions in their lives, and if they would have gone the other way, they would have been sitting in these seats on the other side. That does not mean that folks are not responsible for their decisions in their own lives, but it does lend me to have probably a bit more compassion, understanding that I feel very blessed. I don't feel deserving, I feel very blessed. And every day when I get off of that exit or when I'm driving through Spring Valley or when I was in Lamar Park at the point in time count and met a woman who worked for the school district and was evicted from her home that she rented for 22 years because the owner decided to sell it, which is their right to do. Every time I drive and see, I think about her. And I think about my responsibility to make sure that I do everything that I can so that the people who want help can get it. And I can tell you right now that is not the case. And the biggest issue we have is providing stability for people who want to get better. And the way that I looked at this project was a way to provide that. But I do also feel that we have also a responsibility to engage fully, completely, and on a continual basis with those who are most impacted in the neighboring areas. And I don't see that that was done here. So that means that, you know, we're not necessarily able to come to the middle because we started off on the wrong foot. I know there was some community engagement done, don't get me wrong, but I think the people that will be most impacted by a project like this did not get the opportunity to fully engage. So with that, I will say, of course, you know, I'm going to support this, but I do have a couple of amendments that I'll discuss in a minute. I'm gonna support it because I do, you know, feel that at the end of the day, we have to support each other in our own respective districts. But I did put a solution forward, another possible solution, because I don't want to give the possibility of having these tiny homes somewhere. I don't want that to be absolved. I don't want it to go back to the state. We need to preserve our relationship with the state when it comes to this crisis that the state is in. We need to continue to be good partners with the state, and one of the ways that we do that is to find other solutions. Now it's going to be on the state and the governor, who has been working very hard to decide what he will do, but I think that we need to put our best foot forward. So in that, I want to thank Mayor Raquel Vasquez, who called in, Councilmember Allison Snow, who is right, because the statistics are telling us that more and more people are falling into homelessness because they cannot afford rent. And those are the people we don't necessarily always see. That's the single mother that's living in her car, taking a shower at the gym, and trying to fake it at work like she is not without a home. So that is true. That population is truly rising. What we see on the streets are people that have probably just given up on these systems that have a lot of barriers. That's what we mostly see on the streets. So I just wanted to acknowledge also that the Chula Vista Tiny Home Project is open. It is, I can't necessarily speak to the success of it, but I know it is up and running, and I believe that it is successful. It is a smaller project. I also agree that if we'd be hard pressed to find any one space that we can put 150 tiny homes. That is a lot to ask of our communities, especially as we begin to roll this out, because we have a responsibility to make it work. If we don't make it work, then that means there will be more resistance in our communities. So we do have that responsibility. I also want to just talk about our work with Lemon Grove, the city as a county. My understanding is that there was a memorandum of agreement between all East County mayors, okay, so I'll let Supervisor Anderson talk about that. I'll be quiet on that. But it's just to the point. My point is we can do it, I believe. I will be, Lemon Grove has my commitment to be fully engaged with community as you move forward. If this is even a possibility, right, that Lemon Grove is now in District 4, I will be there, because I think that this is that important, and it's very hard to find folks that are willing and want to open their doors, but people will have parameters that they want to see as well. I also have mentioned, in these conversations, because I have engaged with Lemon Grove residents and leadership in the past week quite a bit, that we also do have to look at law enforcement, especially for the city of Lemon Grove, who is dealing with a lot right now. We do need to acknowledge that there may be additional law enforcement that is needed and dedicated to these spaces. That doesn't mean that everyone in these spaces commits crimes, but it does mean that we're acknowledging that there may be elements of that or vulnerability there. Sorry, I keep talking. I'm almost done.
I was saying, I think that like the hot teams and some other programs, I think that's part of the conversation. So I didn't interrupt you.
Absolutely. No, it's okay. That is a part of the conversation that needs to happen. But I want to make sure that I clear the record on some of these themes that were said, but also acknowledging the things that were said. I get it and I understand, and I do live there. So I come off of the exit every single day. Before I go into the amendment, I do also want to say that just realistically, we do have case law and precedent. We cannot arrest people because they are poor. And if we don't provide a place for people to stay as a region, then we cannot then enforce the law the way that some folks desire to do, right? So this is a part of an overall effort, because if someone then refuses housing that is available, then there's another conversation. But if that housing is not available, it is hard to enforce. So I just want to remind that is the law in our region right now, and I believe in the state of California, unless the Supreme Court says something different. So I want to ask that the chairwoman consider this amendment to number 5 of the recommendations, that is also calling out the specificity of the Lemon Grove site that had been in the works and plans for a while. And I will read it, to direct the Chief Administrative Officer, welcome to your first day, to explore and assess alternative homeless solutions in Spring Valley and surrounding communities, including the site on Troy Street in Lemon Grove, and return back, not necessarily report back, but return back to the board at our next board meeting, which is July 16th, with recommendations. This recommendation should include an analysis of feasibility, cost, and timeline to develop the Lemon Grove site. And this recommendation should also include options for the $8.5 million in ARPA previously allocated for this project for homeless solutions.
I'm fine with that. Sure. The only clarification is the 8.5 million is not solely for Lemon Grove. 8.5 million is for that.
That is fine. And so my purpose of being very specific to this site is because it is very hard to find quite a few willing partners that we've already done a lot of this work.
Yeah, and they're willing.
Right, and they're willing, and so, but if that is not, we have to have other options, because we still are not aware what the governor is going to do, although we hope and pray that we can keep these resources here in San Diego. And with that, if you accept it, thank you very much, and I will second the motion. Thank you.
Happy to accept it. All right. Supervisor Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate my colleague, Monica, moving forward with this and focusing on that. When I got elected in 2020, I wanted to look at homelessness in my district as a regional issue, so I set up an MOU and had every mayor in my district. Lemon Grove at that time was in my district. Mayor Vasquez has been a great partner working with the county. We actually we've had over the years a number of open houses together where we fielded questions. I've never proposed any homeless solutions in my district that I did not have a community coffee. So when people say that it's a sneak attack and the rest, no, they're not. They need to stop deleting my email. I can only call you, I can only email, and I can only knock on your door. At some point, you got to take ownership of you not participating in our outreach. So I want to make sure that people understood that. The second thing I did was my district was swarmed with illegal pot shops. And I want to thank Chairman Vargas and everybody that served on the committee on the board here, because they voted for $2.5 million for the DA and the sheriff to form a task force, and they closed over 100 illegal pot shops. Most of which were in Spring Valley, alcohol in Lakeside. And so I grew up in Spring Valley. I lived most of my life in Spring Valley. I know where Dictionary Hill is. I try to kill myself on it more than one occasion. Don't ride your bike down it. And pedal. And so I think it's important for people to also understand, I don't represent that area anymore. You all do. And everything I was working on, whether it was the library or anything else, I passed on to Nathan Fletcher because he first had it. And I want to be supportive of your efforts, but their representative got elected there to represent them, not me. And so I just want to make sure that people understand that, because I frequently get calls, and we do a referral over to y'all. Just like some of my new district, I'm sure Tara gets calls because she used to represent my new constituents. So I think it's important for the public to understand how this works. And I want to be supportive of the work that you're doing, but I'm never going to tell you what you should do in your district because I don't represent them anymore. You do. And I trust that you are communicating for them to the best of your ability. I was hoping I could second something, but evidently it's all been worked out, so I'll look forward to voting for it.
Thank you. Again, I wanted to say thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to the community for all of your engagement. I look forward to continue to work together and moving forward. So with that, we have a motion in a second. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes with Supervisor Vice Chair Lawson-Remer voting no, all other supervisors who are present voting aye.
Thank you. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a lunch break, and we'll be back at 12:30. Thank you.
Say something?
So, hey guys, I just
let me get you on here.
we're gonna go to lunch, so we'll take a break and then come back and show you the rest of the clown show. So hope you enjoyed that so far.
There should be more interesting circus acts.
Circus Vargas.